Hello. Someone stands before a crowd and says, let's go to war. And the whole country goes to war against another just because of one person's statement. Another one stands on the stage and says, let's have peace. And he convinces the people and they come together and shake hands and life goes on peacefully. That's the power of a public speaker. This is Now Tell Us, and I'm your host, Anthony Mwerore. At Now Tell Us, we always have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us. They come and educate us or share something that they are passionate about. And always we are having a great time. And when I say always, I believe that today we are going to have a great time. Are you ready to speak? Now, this is Now Tell Us. We are going to listen, but then prepare to come out of this place inspired to go out there and become a public speaker if you are not one. So, without taking one more minute, why don't we go and meet our guest today, who is known as Peter George. Here we go. Hello, Peter.
Hi, Anthony. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you at Now Tell Us.
Oh, pleasure to be here.
Yes. Where are you?
Rhode Island in the U.S.
Okay. And how is the weather today?
It's actually very nice. For this time of year, it's very nice. It's about 45 degrees, which is rather warm for us this time of year. So nice day.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now, today at Now Tell Us, we are excited to learn about why public speaking is our power skill. And we would like to hear that from you. But before we go there, we'd like to know a bit more of who is Peter George.
Well, to start, the last thing I ever wanted to do was speak in front of others. I grew up with a lisp and a stutter. And with those two speech impediments, I learned to keep my mouth shut, not open it. I spoke around family, close friends, but that was it. By the time I got to high school, the two impediments had all but gone. And you can still hear them every once in a while, but not that often. When I got to the corporate world right out of school, they told me I was going to present. And I said, no, I'm not. And then they basically said, well, then you don't have a job. And this was a great job. It was one of the world's most recognizable brands, especially in the electronics world. So I went and got coaching. I got group coaching, which was great. But then I went and got one-on-one coaching, which was awesome. And what I learned, Anthony, was how much that did for my life. In more ways than one. It helped me with public speaking skills, of course. But the confidence I got out of this permeated other aspects of my life.
Okay.
And then when I left the corporate world and started my own company in 1990, I went out and started speaking. And we noticed every time I was out speaking, we got a bump in revenue in the company. And my partner in the company was my wife, who's an accountant by education. And it didn't take long for an accountant to say, keep going out and speaking because we keep making more money when you do.
Okay.
So learning the skill of public speaking, engaging others, communicating with others in ways that benefits them, the audience, made a world of difference in my life.
And eventually you ended up as a coach, as someone who teaches others how to speak.
Yeah, about halfway through. I've been speaking on stage for about 36 years now total.
36.
But about 18, about 36 years.
Yeah.
And about halfway through that, just about 18 years ago, some people
Okay.
started coming to me and saying, "Hey, why did you do this? Or how did you do that? Or I saw the effect it had on the audience. Could you teach me that?"
Uh-huh.
And I learned that I loved coaching as much as I loved speaking.
Okay.
So I still speak, and uh, but I coach a lot as well.
And that's good.
It's a
So
lot of
you,
fun.
yeah, we can see that it's something that you're passionate about, and I'm seeing something behind you, which is a beautiful book cover. Tell us about that. Maybe it's got some secrets that we could use in our speaking.
You, the Captivating Public Speaker is a book I wrote, and I published it in August of 2022, so last year at this time.
Okay.
And that covers the vast majority of the aspects of public speaking,
Mm,
anywhere from managing your nerves, if you happen to get very nervous when you're speaking, and everybody does. Whether we label it nerves or excitement, everybody feels that feeling.
mm-hmm.
Hopefully, more and more people label it as excitement. But
Yeah.
then it gets into the AMPed framework. And the AMPed framework is a framework I created, and that stands for audience, message, presentation, and delivery. And it
Okay.
takes you through each aspect of that. So, who's your audience? Because without knowing the audience, how can you create a presentation that'll resonate with that particular audience?
Mm-hmm.
So, who's your audience? What message do you want? What point do you want to get across? How do you create your presentation for that audience based on your research, and then honing your delivery? That's your voice and your body language.
Hmm.
So it takes you throughout all of that. And what's great about this book, as far as I'm concerned, and the way I wrote it, is that it's modular. You can go from one cover to the other cover, or you can just take out pieces that you want to study at that time.
Ah, that's cool. Now, how many types of speeches do we have?
How many types of speeches?
Mm-hmm.
Infinite. This is public speaking.
Yeah.
Sitting home speaking to a loved one is public speaking. Sitting across a desk or a table from someone, public speaking. 12 people in a conference room, public speaking. 1,000 people in an auditorium, public speaking.
Hmm. And why is it so important that I should learn those skills? Why? Why?
If you can't communicate concisely and clearly, then a lot of problems arise. People misunderstand you, you misunderstand them,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it might be. And now, let's say you were talking to someone and you were asking them to go do something and they misunderstood you. They come back and say it's done. And you say, no, it's not. Well, the miscommunication causes problems.
Mm-hmm.
So the more clearly we can present to people, the better it is as a result. But even within that, the more we can engage people, public speaking isn't necessarily about using great words or whatever. Most people speak matter of factly. What it's about is engagement. So, where a lot of people try to get up there and be perfect in their delivery and the like, don't focus on perfection, focus on connection. And when you connect with the audience, that's what they're looking for. And that way you can better benefit the audience. What public speaking is not, it's not about us, the speakers. It's all about who's listening to you. Again, whether that's one person, 12 people, or 1,000 people.
And what could be the tricks of connecting with the audience? Once I stand there and I want the audience to be engaged. uh,
Number one, bar none, be prepared. You've got to be prepared. You have to have practiced and rehearsed your presentation prior to getting up and speaking. That makes a great deal of difference because now you don't have to concentrate on what you're going to say. You know what you're going to say. Not that you
mhm,
memorized it, you shouldn't memorize it, but you still know what you want to say. Now you can spend your time and your power engaging the audience. And that matters. Otherwise, the phones come out or they daydream or they're just not paying attention to you.
mhm,
Engagement is the key.
the engagement is the key. You've spoken in many different places. What kind of other places have you been to, and how are the experiences different in each of the places that you've been to?
Well, I live in the US, and out of the 50 states, I've spoken in 48 of them numerous times. I
Okay.
haven't spoken in Hawaii and I haven't spoken in Alaska. The 48 contiguous states I've spoken in, like I said, numerous times, but I've spoken in other countries as well. And the difference is the culture. And this is one of the reasons you need to research your audience so you know how to interact with that culture.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I speak in England, now you think, okay, the cultures are very similar. The language, not quite as similar. They use words differently than we do a little bit, but we have expressions
Mm-hmm.
that might not resonate in England. And we also have expressions that mean one thing to us and mean something entirely different to them. So you have to do your research to find out about that culture, what you can and can't say, what you might want to say instead. And then again, now it resonates with the audience as opposed to them saying, I have no idea what you're talking about. Or why did you just say something vulgar when you didn't think you said anything vulgar?
Mm. I've experienced that. And I'll give you I'll give you an example. Now we use body language, and you go into a different place and you do something that is totally different, or means totally different from the place that you're coming from. For example, I come from Kenya and I'm in Greece. I'm a speaker, motivational speaker, and also an author. So I get to learn about the culture when I'm standing to speak, and one of the things they say, and which could be just okay with you, is to just say hi, lift up your hand like that. Now that's cussing.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah, it's cussing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like here in the US, thumbs up.
Hmm.
Where am I here? Thumbs
Yeah,
up means it's good.
yeah,
I like that. It's good. It's going well. Whatever. In other countries, it might mean something totally different.
yeah,
Not as pleasant.
yeah, yeah. I've had that also. I've had
Yeah.
that also. Yeah. So now you've worked in the company, also in your own company. And also, there are places that you've been and you've been called there to speak at a fee.
Hmm.
How lucrative is the public speaking career?
How profitable?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, if you work at it and you get into the right places to speak, it can be extremely profitable.
give us a
It can be a prosperous.
give us a few inspiring numbers. Like some places you've been and you say, "Oh, did I do that? Did I get that?"
Dollar wise. Oh,
Yeah,
you're
dollar.
yeah. Some are into five figures,
Mm-hmm.
and it depends. If it's, I don't do keynotes anymore. I'm not up
Okay.
there doing keynotes. I'm too old for that.
Okay.
I'm not really. It's just not where I put my energy.
Yeah.
I do more breakouts now. And
Okay.
breakouts at conferences or workshops and things like that don't pull in the money that a keynote will,
Mm-hmm.
but still you can double up on them. There's various ways to do it, but you can make money as a public speaker. If you're in demand and you get out there and have people understand how you will benefit their audience, whether that's a corporate audience or a conference audience, if they understand how you'll benefit that audience and they see that you will do that, then you can get paid handsomely.
That's good. And I see you're avoiding figures because there is no mark that this is what you should take or this is what you should ask for. Uh,
I've spoken for five figures. I've spoken for nothing. Uh,
ah,
I'm 2 nights from the time we're doing this. I'm speaking for nothing because one, it's right around the corner from my house, and
okay.
two, it's an organization that doesn't have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But I know when I speak there, I will get anywhere from 1 to 3 clients from it.
Mm.
So we're back up into the thousands of dollars at that point.
That's cool. So,
So yeah,
so
you weigh it.
yeah, you weigh it, and you can always go somewhere where you're doing it for nothing because at the back of it, you're sure that something is going to come out of it.
Yeah, and there are times I speak for nothing, knowing that that's exactly what I'm going to get is nothing.
Yeah.
But there are extenuating circumstances where I may do that because it's a friend. I might do it because it was an organization that I was part of for years and I just want to give back. There are different times. So when people say, don't ever speak for nothing, I believe don't ever speak for no value,
Mm.
but sometimes value can be monetary. It can be in possible clients, and it can also be in value that I just get out of the enjoyment of doing it.
And now, since the playing field has changed in the recent past years, we are coming from real stage into online stage, like exactly what we are doing right now. How has it been for you?
It's been well. I don't do a lot. I'll do one-on-one training via Zoom or Skype and the like, but I don't do a lot of speaking
Hmm.
on online.
Okay.
I don't enjoy it as much, and I'm in a position where if I don't enjoy it, I don't have to do it.
Yeah, you do it. You do what makes you feel good. I mean, you go there.
Yeah, I'm at an age where I can do that. So the other thing is I love doing this type thing on Zoom. This is great
Mm-hmm.
because I get to meet people all over the world. I have clients all over the world. So training on Zoom is fine. Or, whatever platform you may use. But to do a presentation, a speech, or a talk on Zoom or a video platform, now I still want to do live or none.
And each and every one of us is different. There are people who would like presentations done on Zoom. There are people who will never use technology. They'll just say, I just want to be there face to face talking to the people.
Oh, yeah, and I've seen speakers who use the video platform to perfection. I mean, they're just absolute. They've got 3 cameras in their studio. They have someone working the switches to go from camera to camera. I've seen people use it so well, and then I've seen people just get up in front of their camera on their laptop or their desktop and start speaking and also do a fabulous job.
Mm.
I just don't get as much out of it to spend an hour and a half doing that.
Mm.
So that's why I choose not to. But other people do extremely well and really enjoy it.
That's good. Now, giving a speech, and before you give a speech, you practice. Tell us about the importance of practice and how should we practice? How often? With who? When?
Well, that can vary person to person, but some of the ideas out there is first of all, practice a lot.
Hmm.
Rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. You wouldn't go to the West End in London or Broadway in New York, pay $400-500 for a front row seat, probably more, for a front row seat to watch actors who hadn't practiced, who hadn't rehearsed.
Hmm.
So when we present, why do we expect that we can present without rehearsing and people will get enjoyment out of it? We won't be as sharp as we think we can. Now, can some people speak off the cuff that way? Just do it? Yeah, some can. But then there are some 3-year-olds who can play Mozart too. Just not a lot of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you really have to rehearse. When things matter, we expect people to rehearse. We go to a play, we want them to have rehearsed. We go to a sporting event, we expect that team to have rehearsed, practiced. We expect people to do as well as they can. They would never go on the field, on the stage, go down the side of a mountain in the Olympics without practicing. So, what makes us think we're so good at speaking that we can get up and just speak? And that's a problem. We say, well, I've been speaking since I was less than 2 years old, and I really know what I'm talking about. But again, that's not public speaking. That's getting up in front of people and speaking. Public speaking is the engagement of the audience. And that's what you have to practice. So you take it from an actor's point of view, and the actors have a saying, you don't practice or you don't rehearse till you get it right. You rehearse until you can't get it wrong.
That's a
And
cool one.
that's what you want to do.
That's a cool one. And thank you for that. Because In our group, we are planning already. We have started. We started the first one on Monday. Every week, we want to invite people to come on our stage and practice and practice and practice every Sunday. I mean, every Monday. And then we'll see whether we can have it other days. But for those who are listening, you're welcome to ask where is the stage. It's on Zoom. And we give you the time and you come and practice with us.
Oh, that's great. They should take advantage of that.
Yeah. Everyone should take advantage of that. And also everybody should take advantage of being coached. Now, this is not just about you come to practice what you've already been coached. And this is why we have Peter here. You reach out to Peter or some whatever your favorite coach that you are connected with and can get the coaching. But now since we have Peter here, go get Peter, ask him to coach you, ask him about all the secrets, how he's been, and he's got a lot of experience. 36 years is not a short time. And some of us are starting. We don't have the experience. We don't know the hows. And it's important to get guided on how to go about that. So thank you very much, Peter, for coming to this show.
Oh, my pleasure.
Mm-hmm. The don'ts. Which are they?
Don't procrastinate. We procrastinate, and then the night before a presentation say, oh, I've got to work on this. And then it doesn't go well. And then we justify our procrastination by saying, well, it's a good thing I didn't put much time into it because it didn't go well. Well, it didn't go well because you didn't put much time into it. Don't speak, if you can, don't speak without knowing your audience. Figure out who your audience is. What do they need to know? What do they want to know? And that, how do you want to make them feel? Do you want to make them feel confident? In a sales meeting, you might want to light a fire under their butts and get them charged up. How do you want to make them feel? And then what do you want them to do at the end of all this? Just giving people information and not telling them what to do with that information that'll benefit them, that doesn't help anybody. They have to be transformed. Too many of us think of speaking as informing people. Speaking should be about transforming people. Let me ask you this, Anthony, and your listeners. Have you ever gone into a meeting? Let's say it's an hour-long meeting. And when you left that meeting, thought to yourself, I will never, ever, ever get that hour back in my life. It was a complete waste of my time.
I've been there.
We all have, right?
Yeah.
It's because we left the same way as we went in. But if we left that meeting transformed, we had knowledge so we can go accomplish what we want to accomplish. We have knowledge so we can do something special. We have the knowledge to do something that we want to do. Now we've been transformed. And that's the difference between informing and transforming. Speak to transform, not inform.
Speak to transform, not inform. Now you're sharing some beautiful things here. We have Charmaine here, who was very excited in the previous quote that you gave. You rehearse until you can't get it wrong.
Definitely. So you can't get it wrong. That way, when your PowerPoint goes down for whatever reason, your computer goes down, the projector or TV goes down, the cables are bad, whatever, you can still do it. If something happens in the room that distracts you, something falls or whatever, and takes your mind away for a second, you can still go back there and complete it the way you want. When you're doing it just so that you get it right, well, when we get it right when we're rehearsing, we're in a room by ourselves. It's quiet. It's easy to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking to people and things are going on around you, that's when you know you have to practice it so well you can't get it wrong.
Wow. Thank you very much. And then we have another Facebook user that is not showing the name, but he was also excited. Speak to transform, not to inform. That's good. Thank you for all that you're sharing that. So, yes, and in the speaking world, and I'm curious to know that, because again, talking about the changing world, where we've got people identified, and then we have people being discriminated for that and that or this. Have you experienced that? In what way?
Uh, of of discrimination in any type.
Any type?
It's funny in this politically correct world, and I get it, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we say certain things with no malice whatsoever, and someone will take offense to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are sometimes people come up to me and say, "Oh, you said this, and you might not want to say it that way anymore." I'm like, "Oh, thank God you told me that. I didn't realize I said it that way, or whatever." And it's harmless on both sides. But then sometimes people get carried away. When I speak about body language, men and women, for the most part, not absolutely, but for the most part, handle our bodies differently.
Mm-hmm.
We stand differently, again, for the most part, not absolute. And sometimes people take offense to that. How dare you single out men? How dare you single out women? It's like, well, I can't talk about our bodies and act like they're exactly the same because they're not. The culture that many of us were brought up in within our own cultures have been different for men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And we've reacted to that. So we might stand a certain way. We might hold our arms a certain way. Things are different. A lot of women don't want to look bigger. Men often want to look bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So and some people take offense to that why we're all the same. Well, yeah, but no.
Mm-hmm.
I can lie or I could just leave it alone, but that won't benefit anybody. So
Mm-hmm.
for the ones who want to understand how they're using their bodies and how they might use their bodies to speak to others, because your body's talking to others all the time, just on an unconscious level.
Mm-hmm.
So on both sides, unconscious on your side and unconscious on the audience's side. If you want to know that, well, then the difference in bodies come up. Not talking about the sexual aspect or anything like that, just how we've been brought up a little differently.
Mm. Wow, wow, that's cool. And I know we've got a lot to cover, but this is the reason that we are asking people to go and get the book because a lot of the questions that I could continue asking are found in the book. And also, that's why people should reach out to you to get personalized ideas and strategies and tips. And someone is asking how we connect with you. How is that?
How
How
to
do we?
connect with me?
Yeah.
Easiest way to do that is to go to my website, petergeorgepublicspeaking.com.
Okay.
petergeorgepublicspeaking.com. There you go.
Yeah.
And they can find out about me, the services I provide, whether it's speaking, coaching, my podcast, my book, all of it's right there.
That's
And feel
beautiful.
free to reach out. I love to hear from people.
Yeah, so go to the website, petergeorgepublicspeaking.com. The link is actually in the description of the video. You just click and it's going to take you there. And connect with Peter. And yeah, and get coached, get the book, get ideas, tips, and use them for your benefit to be the best public speaker. Yeah, to be what his book says, become the captivating public speaker. Yes, that's just about it for today. Thank you very much, Peter. We appreciate you coming to this show today. And
Anthony, thanks so much for having me and best of luck to your listeners.
yes, and best of luck to everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
We really appreciate. But before we go, we always ask our guests to leave us with a few words that we should always remember. Which are they, Peter?
It's always about the audience. Simple as that. If you want to be a good public speaker, remember it's not about you, it's always about the audience.
And it's good that you mentioned that because there are people who say, it's how I look. How do I look? How am I speaking? Are they going to admire me? No, they are not there to admire. They are there to wish you success because I don't go into an auditorium to look at someone fail. So when the audience is sitting, they are rooting for you. They want you to succeed, but it's for their benefit.
Right, exactly.
So yes, we agree to those words and we thank you very much. and everyone else, and someone is asking whether they can access your website from Uganda. Of course, from everywhere in the world.
Yep,
I believe so.
exactly.
Yeah. And we take this opportunity also to thank every visitor, every guest, every comment that you've given is valuable. Thank you for watching. Please share this video with all your friends, and go and take those actions that we have asked you in this video. And become the captivating public speaker. Yeah, that's about it. This has been Now Tell Us. I've been your host, Anthony Morore, and together with our guest, Peter George, we are saying, go out there and be the best speaker. Bye for now.